Hey guys, it's Bear. It's Friday, October 30th, and this is the life of T-Men. This week's topic is surgeries, question mark. So I apologize in advance. This is one of those times when I'm trying to really rush and do a video, so I don't have my thoughts really composed. But as far as surgeries go, let me say first and foremost that I see a lot of people within the trans community, as well as the cis community, saying that if you don't alter your body, you're not transitioning or you're not trans enough. I hate that term, trans enough. What? But yeah, you don't need to do anything to your body in order to be trans or to transition. There's a lot of different ways to transition. That's not the topic of this video, so I'm not going to get too into it, but it's something that I see a lot with people policing people's gender identities by saying like, oh, you don't want to do this to your body, you're not trans, and it's bullshit. It really pisses me off. So that being said, moving on, surgeries. There's a couple different surgeries for trans males. There's top surgery, having your breast removed. There's bottom surgery, where you modify the genitals to be more like a phallus, and then there's a hysterectomy. So as far as top surgery goes, for me, that was an absolute must. I had horrible top dysphoria. I hated my breasts. I hated the way they looked. I hated them when I was trying to work with them and fit into clothing and stuff. I never liked to wear anything that showed off my breasts. Obviously, now that makes sense. Before, I didn't really understand why I didn't like that and why I was so uncomfortable. I had a double incision procedure, which is kind of the most tissue removal. It's why I have the longer scars. My nipples were removed and grafted back on. In fact, the tissue that is my nipple now, or my areola now, was not nipple tissue at all. It was just areola tissue that's fashioned to look like a nipple now. You can hear more about that on my personal channel. It's called Bear the Bear. And my last video update was a 4-month update, but you can see all the way from like the day after my surgery up until recently, where I tell you more about that. For me, that was a must. I hemmed and hawed over whether or not I was going to come out and whether or not I was going to transition for a really long time. And the minute I found out that it was possible for me to have top surgery because of my insurance and stuff, it drove forward my transition. It's now been a year since I came out, and I don't even know if I would have come out at this point if it wasn't possible for me to have top surgery. So that was an absolute must. That had to go. Not only were they uncomfortable as far as my body image, but they were also uncomfortable. I had fibrocystic tissue, which was just really painful 2 to 3 weeks out of the month. So that had to happen for me. As far as the other two, the hysterectomy, for some people it's optional. You know, it takes away the chances of conceiving. You know, even with testosterone, you can still conceive a child. I don't really like talking about that much. It's one of the other areas of being trans that makes me really uncomfortable. I don't like the fact that my body can still do that. So for some people, it's just a matter of eliminating that. For some, it's a matter of stopping the cycle completely, because testosterone may or may not stop your cycle. And that's cause for horrible dysphoria. When you're a male-identified person and you're getting a period, it's just really cause for a lot of dysphoria and anxiety. And then for some, it's a medical must. For when you're on testosterone, it can cause a lot of dryness. It can cause internal parts, reproductive parts, to atrophy, and it becomes necessary to have those parts removed to some extent. So that's the hysterectomy and why you might have it. The bottom surgery, as far as your genitals, is a lot more complicated. There's a lot more options. There's simply having a release, which is, testosterone causes growth of what would have been your penis if you had been born a cis male. it causes you to grow straight down, and when you get erections, they go straight down, so it can be a little painful. And so the release lets it come forward more like, on a cis male. But it doesn't give you the opportunity to urinate standing up. That you need a urethral lengthening for. And you get that with the metoidioplasty or the phalloplasty. Look those up if you're interested in that stuff. The video's already getting long and I gotta go. But as far as bottom surgery, I'm really conflicted. I absolutely have a strong desire to be able to urinate standing up, but I also don't want various things to happen to my existing junk. And so I don't know. I don't know if I want bottom surgery, or which type I would want. Again, I'm only a year into my transition. I've got plenty of time, plenty of growth from testosterone left to go before I need to make that decision. In the meantime, I'm fairly happy with, just wearing an STP in order to use urinals and stuff. I'm pretty good with it. And yeah, those are my feels on surgery. Sorry that it's not a very flushed out video this week, but I gotta go, guys. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you again next week.